about moving to San Jose, California? Maybe you already live in the Bay Area and are just trying to figure out your next place to settle down, but you're kind of overwhelmed with all of the different neighborhoods in San Jose. Depending on the source, there may be over 12 different neighborhoods and regions in San Jose alone, being one of the largest cities that we have in the entire Bay Area. My name is Spencer Su, and in the last 5 years, I've helped over 250 people with their moves in the Bay Area, and I'm a Bay Area native and born in San Jose. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over what kind of homes can you expect in different regions of San Jose, but also what are the pros and cons that I tell everybody so that you can decide and narrow down what may work for you. Now, for San Jose is a little bit tricky. Depending on what source and what website you use, the neighborhood labeling can overlap, can be confusing, and quite frankly, I don't even know that well anymore what they are because they all have their own labeling system. That being said, there are general regions, and for today's example, even though that you can see on areavibes.com, you'll see about 14 different regions. Today's example, I'm going to be going over what we have in the multiple listing service, which is a lot of the filters that are already designated on the basic real estate websites of the different zones. Now, some of them may overlap with some of these, some of them may overlap with your perception of what it is. There is no clear definition of these neighborhoods. That's why even if you put it in Google Maps, you'll see different things, but it'll give you a good enough idea to understand all the different places to consider. And I'm not going to go in any particular order. I'm just going to go over the exact area that they have within the MLS so that you can see for yourself the types of housing that is there, but also what is the pro and con of each of these specific areas that I tell everybody that is choosing to live here. Now, we'll start with number one, Santa Teresa. Where is Santa Teresa? Santa Teresa is on basically the most south and right region that you can have when it comes to San Jose. Now, this is a lot closer to Morgan Hill than it is to a lot of other parts of San Jose. But the reason why people choose to live here is several reasons. Number one, if you take a look at the housing here in terms of prices, you can see while you will have some houses that are over $1.6, $1.7 million, generally, they're going to be more affordable houses for single family in all the areas that are still pretty good neighborhoods and are still quite nice. You're going to see a lot more hills out there. The commute is a little bit further out, so you may have some traffic as you go along to where you may work in Sunnyvale, Mountain View, etc., etc. But you can still see there's a lot of single family homes that work here, right? You can see in the last 3 months, and all of these we're going to be looking at the last 3 months, there's been 60 something homes that are single family that are out there between $1 to $2 million. This region also will have some condos and townhomes that are available. So you can see from a condo perspective, there are 2 bedrooms and 3 bedroom condos ranging between $665 to $1.2 million. And those $1.2 million is because there are some newer construction homes that are built in this area over the last couple of years by Pulte. That's why you see some newer construction, but also some that are over $1 million for townhomes. And the last but not least, you also see a lot of other townhomes that are out there, even some of the older ones that can be under $1 million. So as a recap for this area, the pros and cons is several. Number one, for what you get for the housing, it's one of the most affordable places that you'll have in San Jose. At the same time, you still have some like newer commercial places that have been opened up here. So you have like a newer Costco, given it's a little bit further south. I think at some point, maybe Apple or so wanted to build something out there. And so you'd have some newer commercial places that have been opened up throughout the years. It's a more affordable area. So this is a pick for those that wants generally a single family that was plus or minus 1.5. There's not too many places in the South Bay that have that. And this is one of the areas that does. Next, we're gonna talk about Evergreen. Evergreen, as you can see, there's 173 homes that have sold in the last 3 months. Now, in terms of how they label it, you can see it's a pretty large section. You may think of Evergreen as really the ones that are these grand estates that are in the hills. And that area of Evergreen, Silver Creek is the area where you're gonna get some of the most expensive homes in all of San Jose, not just San Jose, even many of Santa Clara County altogether. Take a look at this. If you look at the homes that are over $3 million, you're gonna see a lot. right? So you're going to see 18 homes sold for over $3 million in that region. And most of them will be going to Silver Creek areas. But you can see they're very, very large homes, right? 2,900 plus square feet, 3,000 plus square feet. The lot sizes range from a 7,000 to like a 15,000 square foot lots. Some may or may not have views. It's also more of a private community out in that region. So some people really like that. Now, make no mistake, you can see there's a lot of homes that transacted, and most of them are going to be still single family. But you can also see some pretty affordable ones. Like there are options that are between 1 to 1.2, right? In a very good area. So if you take a look at these 1 to 1.2, you're going to see this area altogether is a little bit more on the bottom of the hill. Now, these, to be fair, they do not actually go to the Evergreen good schools, but they are also some of the cheapest homes that you'll find in San Jose. This is why it's kind of interesting, the labeling of how they label it. So while Evergreen, as a general whole and as a neighborhood, it's very, very, very good, you still have some very inexpensive ones, very entry-level ones that are, quite frankly, a little bit busier areas. Now, I'm going to segment this into two parts of how they label Evergreen. On one end, you're going to have the really, really good schools of Evergreen, right? And those typically are in the, at least, I want to say 1.7 million plus. And then you have many in the hills that are over 2.5 million pretty easily. There's also a community called the Villages, and you'll see a lot of inexpensive homes transact there. Now, the reason for that is a senior living area. So there's not many senior living communities. I'm not talking about condos and buildings like that, but actually like whole areas. I would say it's Villages, and you also see the other area in Walnut Creek, I think it was Roswell. Like that area is also like same idea, like kind of a sprawling community built, I want to say 20, 30 years ago or something like that. That's senior living only. So most people are not going to be able to live there just from an age perspective, but it is a great place for those that may want to have family member retire there. There is an age requirement for that. And then the places that I would say kind of north of Aborn Street are going to be a little bit cheaper than the ones south. The more south it gets, the more expensive it gets. That's kind of the logic you want to have of it. The good and bad of this whole area is this: for what you get for the money is going to be a little bit more expensive than what we just saw in Santa Teresa, but high level is going to be pretty good. You're going to get excellent schools. You're going to get big homes. You're going to get lots of great Asian grocery stores. This area has a lot more Vietnamese food, and so those are all popular reasons why people choose to want to be in this area. The slight con is you look back, same as Santa Teresa. In this case, many of them are actually in the hills, so it takes 10 to 15 minutes just to get next to the closest highway, which in this case the closest highway is 101. Then you need to connect that to potentially something else. That's really the only con that you have about this, is that a lot of them require a good amount of local driving to then get to the nearest highway, then to get to wherever you need to get to. Right? But for the money, and for many of these areas with good schools, it is a very popular option for those that consider it. Next, let's talk about Alum Rock. 141 homes sold in this time in that area over the last 3 months. You can see even Alum Rock, you still have some homes that are over 3 million. And the main reason why these were able to sell for that much is take a look at the lot sizes of these. Over an acre. Right? So that's Alum Rock is one of the only places that has that kind of space, and so that is very unique. But for the most part, homes there would range, I would say, between 1.2-ish up to now, you can see even up to 2 million. So Alum Rock in the past may have not had the best reputation, but things have greatly changed in that region. And it goes to that for many reasons, right? There is the aspect of people getting priced out of the area, so then this area becomes a very logical place, especially if you have a home that's a starter home that's under 1.5. Like some of these areas can be very good areas if you had a budget under 1.2 and you still want a single family house. So naturally you're going to have this turnover in these areas because that is going to be one of the cheapest places that you can even consider. So that's the main part about it. Generally, the downside about this whole area is that the schools are definitely not that great. The neighborhoods in terms of like the streets are a lot more congested, right? So you don't be surprised in this whole area that as you drive around, there's a lot of people that'll be parking their cars on the street level. Feel free to drive around, see for yourself, especially at night. Feel free to use Google Street View. You will see that for yourself. So those are the main cons of it. And like I said, the schools are not good here, but for the area and for the budget, that's really the pro about this region and what you could be able to get to. Because if you take a look at this, even single family homes, look at this range. Single family homes as low as 690, 700. Now you may not like that, but the fact that it has that kind of range all the way up to, as you can see, let's say outside of these really big lot sizes, up to 2 million, shows that range. Now the way that it works in this region is that the more northeast you go, the more expensive it is. So that's the way to think about it. The places that are closer to downtown is going to be cheaper. Next, Berasa. 186 homes sold in Berasa. Now Berasa is one of the places that has grown the most in the last couple of years. Not talking about COVID, we're talking about the last 2 years. And the reason for that is because of several things. One, generally the schools are good. Two, it's a lot more affordable than your alternative options, not necessarily in San Jose, but like in Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, and you get a decent size for the home, right? So you can get between a 1,500 to about 2,200 square foot in this region. Now the way that Berasa works, as you can kind of see for a lot of places, the more east you go, the better it is. So Berasa, when you think about like Piedmont Hills High School, that's a very, very good high school, better than better rated than Independence High School, which is going to be more geared towards the left side. But altogether, lots of great options. I would say this is still a great value location that you can get. Take a look at these, right? I mean, prices range from, in this case, Berasa, you're kind of looking at least a good part of Berasa. So places kind of east of the highway, you're kind of looking at around 1.7 plus. And then if you're looking on the west part, you have a range of, I would say, about 1.5 to about $2 million, maybe low twos, depending on the size of it. So it's a great, great option for a lot of people that are in that category where schools matter. They still want to be in a good location, because here, as you can see, the distance from here to like a Sunnyvale, Mountain View is not that far versus if you're like in a Santa Teresa or Evergreen. So that's a big driver of this region. This area is also very, very comparable to any of you that have watched my previous videos of looking at places like Mount Milpitas or the south part of Fremont as an example of Warm Springs. But here you can get lots of good options, right? You can take a look at single family, just a huge range of homes. Now, at the same time, you can also get other condos and townhomes that are in these areas too, right? So here is a very, very popular option for condos and townhomes. And the reason is this. You also have a few new construction places. And the reason is because the BART station extended to the Berasa side. So as part of the BART station extending to Berasa, there was a mandate and requirement to build a lot more housing nearby. So you have some nice apartments. You also have some newer condos and townhomes that are in that region. So that's part of the reason why you do have a good amount of condos and townhomes that are there that are newer, but you also have some older ones there that you can get for even under $900,000 for like a kind of a 2-bedroom townhome style. That's 2 levels and only sharing neighbors with the sides. So this is a good spot for many to consider. And as you can see with some of the newer ones or some of the bigger ones, it can easily still go up to $1.5 million or so. All right, so that's the Berasa, and I am only 4 neighborhoods in. So as you can see, there's a lot of neighborhoods that are here, that a lot more with to cover. Now, this is a really small region. This is basically in the Santa Clara side, or at least the Santa Clara kind of border of Santa Clara, and really the area that's, I won't even call it North San Jose. This is kind of the area by Winchester, by the Valley Fair Mall. So there's a little section here that you can see that these are all technically San Jose, but most of it, all surrounding it, is actually Santa Clara. So this is a tiny little region. Now, what I like about this area is this. It is the commute. It is the proximity. I mean, many of these, you can see just how close they are to Valley Fair itself. So Valley Fair, Santana Row, excellent shopping, excellent food choices that are out there. The schools in this area aren't that good, but it's really the location, right? This is some of the most west and central that you are going to get in all of San Jose. So that's the main thing about this region. You can see predominantly mostly single family. You have a few, very few select townhomes, but you can see majority is single family. Here's plus or minus a range of $1.7, $1.8 million. But that's one of the smallest kind of regions that they have, at least listed here in the MLS. Let's look at Central San Jose. What does even Central San Jose mean? Okay, there's a lot to cover here. I'm going to break it down into a few key sections in this so-called Central San Jose. Number 1, let's kind of go first with kind of the real Central San Jose, which would be like downtown San Jose. Downtown San Jose, for the most part, are going to be condos, like in condo buildings. It can be a very affordable option. The good about that is that it's very central, as in you're literally walking to downtown. You're walking all over. Some people want that vibe that really only San Jose has relative to this area, and then your alternative is like a Oakland or a San Francisco, right? So if you want a downtown vibe, so you really don't need to drive anywhere, you can walk around and get everything you need within downtown. There's grocery stores, plenty of restaurants, plenty of bars, things like that. Now, surrounding it, like kind of the outer rings here, you will have some single family that are some of the most inexpensive single families that are there. Now, to be fair, these are some of the oldest homes that you will find in all of San Jose. Number 2, the homes are also some of the smallest that you'll get in San Jose. Number 3, the lots are some of the smallest you'll get in San Jose. Number 4, the schools in general are not good there either. But if you're okay because of the proximity and you want to make a bet on kind of downtown, continue to do well, because it is doing better, much better than before, and people do choose to be in those surrounding areas. So that is the central part around downtown. Now, I did not cover the west part. The west part is completely different. The west part, especially when you're thinking about a place like Rose Garden. Now, Rose Garden is kind of like I wouldn't call it like a mini version of Willow Glenn, but it's a very, very desirable place. And everybody that lives in Rose Garden, or if you live in Willow Glenn, they don't say I live in San Jose. They say I live in the Rose Garden. So when you have that kind of status, they will want to showcase that status. Now, Rose Garden, though, is tiny. I mean, look at this. It's really just, I don't know, maybe like 10 blocks by 10 blocks. Like it's really only this little section here. It doesn't actually go all the way past San Carlos. So it's a really, really small area. But of course, what is known around there, if you have not been to, it is a public park. Go through the Rose Garden itself. Beautiful place, lots of clearly roses. Super nice place. Very central to things you can see. It is also next to Valley Fair. So highly desirable place. The prices there range, I would say, in the low twos these days. Plus or minus that, low twos. And that's a good option. The other option next to it is by this Diridon station. So all of this news about Google's campus and the expansion and things like that, a lot of it was really banking on this little region there, which is Diridon station. They have the trains that go through there. That's a main hub. They're actually hoping eventually that they'll connect Diridon station to the BART station too. Right, that's a huge project that's 10 plus years down the road. But it's a great proximity to that, and there are a good amount of mostly condos and townhomes that are right next door, and a little bit newer ones. The last thing I want to point out about this is you have a section here called Burbank. This is in an unincorporated zone of San Jose. I'll do a different video what that means, but the high level is these are much, much smaller homes. Homes here are under like $1.2, $1.3 million. They're much older homes, smaller lots, but location is excellent, and some people choose to live there, okay? So, we're I think maybe halfway through, maybe more than halfway through. Next, Willow Glenn, 190 homes sold here. Most of these homes are gonna be single family. Now, there are some townhomes in that region, but you can see the numbers, right? Condos and townhomes, it's, what is that? 22 homes out of the 190, and you can see the prices can be just incredible because there's a lot of people that can tear down homes in that region and build brand new ones. And the reason is because certain areas have these big lots. I mean, look at this, some of them are over 10,000 square foot lots, which is not that common in San Jose, and it's all flat land. There is no hills in that region, and so that is a very big reason why this area is so desirable. It's one of the most charming places that you'll see in all of Santa Clara County, in the sense that the neighborhoods that you walk through, whether you walk it, whether you run it, whether you drive by it, you have beautiful tree-lined streets. You have very mature neighborhood feel that it's not a cookie cutter style. So people really like that. The one house next to each other is not going to look the same, but very, very super desirable. And as you can see, location is still very essential to things. Very easy to get around. There's a nice little downtown, Willow Glenn. So it's not a very big spot. I think it's only like 3 blocks or so, but that's super nice. And that's part of the beauty and charm of Willow Glenn. Now, some people don't like it. The schools there generally are not that good. Like you have books in elementary, which is a good elementary, but when it comes to like middle and high school, a lot of people do elect to go most likely private. There's a lot of private schools nearby. When I grew up, a lot of people that I knew went to like private high schools. You have a lot of those not that far away, like a Bellarmine, places like that, and so that's a very, very popular place where people are willing to pay, as you can see, $2 million plus easily all day. I mean, you have homes between $2 to $3 million easy, and people will still definitely go to private school. They're not going here because of the schools, let's just say that. But nice homes, flat lots, and opportunities to like rebuild and do expansions. Okay, so that was Willow Glen. We have a few more left, so we have a couple left. Let's talk about this area that they label as South San Jose. Kind of funny, it's not really South San Jose. Like South San Jose, you would envision like really south, but in this little quadrant, they're going to consider this South San Jose. Now, this area has continued to change a lot. My in-laws live in this area. They bought the home 10 years ago or something like that, so things have changed a lot in this region. Here, you're also going to be finding very affordable starter homes for a lot of people. So similar to like the single family side of things, you can get homes here for, let's say, under 1.5, and many, especially the more northern parts here, under 1.2, 1.1 million dollars, right? So that's a good option for many people. And what's most notable about this area is really Communications Hills. Communications Hills has been a development that has been going through multiple phases through the last several decades. Right now, they have finished with phase 2. They will go through phase 3 and phase 4 over the next probably 5 to 10 years or something like that. But phase 3 won't be starting for another couple of years. But either way, there you can find some newer townhomes, some also tri-level, newer single families out there that could be suitable for a lot of people, right? And this area is a very, very popular exercise area, which is the Grand Staircase. So you have a lot of people running up those stairs, getting fit, and all sorts of different activities that happen there. Just be careful at night. There's a lot of people that may hang around the staircase doing extracurricular activities, but generally it's been a very positive and good thing. Now it's a public access. That's why they cannot restrict people to be able to use it or not. It's basically a public road. But this is a really, really good area for people that are wanting starter homes. Generally, the school here, similar to some of these other places, not good. So they don't have good schools, but it's all relative to the price, but also the type of housing that you can get here, which is a lot of single family starter places under 1.3, 1.4, and also a lot more condos and townhomes that are newer that other places do not have. Next, we're talking about Blossom Valley. 223 homes here. This is my number one pick. If your budget was plus or minus 1.5, 1.6, I would say it's certainly a better option than those in Santa Teresa, because here you can get a nice single family home in a good area that is within this range. Now, of course, as you can see, there are no shortage of homes that are over $1.7 million. But if you kind of scroll through the middle, you'll see out of the 223 homes, there's a big chunk in the middle that's a smaller starter home that can work. If you want a bigger one, this area is one of the best price per square foot that you will get in all of San Jose. That's still considered a pretty good neighborhood and good area. The area has improved a lot only because for what you get for the space. In the past, it used to be commute reasons why it wasn't as good. But to be fair, this area now, commute isn't as bad as it was pre-COVID. The areas that have been worse is the areas of the Tri-Valley because of all the new construction that continues to happen along this whole corridor. But if you think about this part, the really only new construction is like a Gilroy Hollister, right? So there's just not that much new construction that is happening along that corridor. And so that's why the commute of here is not as bad as what you get from the Tri-Valley. Now, schools here are starting to get not bad. They're more average in the middle, and that's that area to consider in Blossom Valley. We're almost done. Almaden Valley. This area is my favorite when it comes to if you want a big home for, let's say, 2.2s. That's what you'd be looking at, because in general, the home sizes here are bigger. You can see the lot sizes plus or minus 8,000 square foot. The schools here are good. You can see the average home size is pretty darn big. I mean, look at these big numbers, like 1,900 to 2,500 square foot homes. There's not that many places in San Jose that have that. And the reason is because this area has been built a little bit newer relative to some of these other neighborhoods. So it's more like 40, 50 years ago type of homes. And so because of that, you have big lots. Generally, the pro about that is it's very good for the money there. You have a few country clubs nearby. I've been there a couple of times. And overall, it's good because of schools, but also what you can get if your price range was in that 2.2, 2.3, plus or minus that range for a bigger home. Con about this, similar to the same con that you have in Evergreen, is that even though this is not a local route, this Almaden Expressway is kind of the path that you're gonna have to take to get in and out, right? And so because of this is another maybe 10, 15 minutes to get to the next closest highway, which would be 85. That's the only slight con because it's really inside. Now, we are almost done. Let's look at Cambrian. Cambrian is excellent location. The schools here are generally very good, especially in these regions. Now the prices here are more expensive for what you get for the home. So the price per square foot here is much higher than what you just saw in Almaden because it's pretty far west, right? And so in this area, you're gonna see homes range between $1.8 to $2.5 million pretty easily. Most of the homes here are going to be single family, and of course you're going to have some exceptions to that. These are huge homes, but outside of that, you're going to see homes kind of in the range. It's a good starter home for like $1.8 million. That's like 1,500 square foot, and then you can get to 2,200-ish square foot home. That would be like in the low to mid twos. But this is a good option if people want schools. The location is important to them in terms of commute, and this is a popular part for them because in this case, it's actually a lot quicker and easier to get to the nearest highway at 85. That's part of the reason why people choose to be out here. Now, I think I only have maybe one left. Technically two left. We're gonna talk about the Campbell area, right? So this area here itself, generally is a really good location because think about it, it's very far west, right? We saw some different examples of the Rose Garden, of the ones in that Santa Clara labeling. So these are really good because the location is really west. Now, unfortunately, the schools in general are not that good, but it does not impact home prices at all here. Here, you're gonna see home prices still in between a range of like, I would say 1.7. You can see up to like, in this case, 2.5 if it happens to be going into the better parts of the better school districts. But here, you're gonna see lots of good single family options. You will also have some condos here that are available to be purchased. You can see some of these condos can be even a small little 1 bedroom, 1 bath. This was in Santana Row area. But you can still see condos and townhomes that are available in this particular area. And so even though the schools generally are not that good here, it's very west. Now, if you did not see already, it's very simple. The more east you go, the cheaper it is because the commute is going that way. That's how everything works out here. And the last thing I want to mention is this Cupertino area. Now, it's not technically Cupertino, but it goes into the Cupertino School District. That's why this is considered West San Jose and is why it's so desirable. Right? The homes here are some of the most expensive that you will get from a price per square foot perspective. But you can also see like some of these homes are over $3 million pretty easily if it was a larger home. Because it rolls into a good school district, even though it's technically San Jose, this is going to be not as expensive as Cupertino, but still up there in terms of the price, in terms of options. All right, well, I covered every single neighborhood, pros and cons of every neighborhood of San Jose. If you found this valuable, please share this with a friend, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to go over a game plan with what may work for you, or to be fair, if you want just a cheat sheet, whether it's San Jose, Santa Clara County, all of Bay Area, just reach out, call or text me, 408-547-4590. We'll go over a strategy called Together, save you a lot of time, give you the best lending options, and then help you go all the way. See you next time.